Good evening, everyone. I'm Gail Schickley. Welcome to Solo Arts Heal. This is a program born from the Solo Arts Heal collective of solo show artists who celebrate the art of storytelling and performance at the intersection of education and advocacy about health and healing. This includes a monthly presentation by Ann Can, peer-to-peer support with Rick Davis, and as we present excerpts of shows that embrace the healing power of the arts, all presenting performance and talkbacks that offer insights and resources for our audiences over a wide range of mental, emotional, and physical challenges, including the health and healing of our Mother Earth. How we treat one another and how we treat the planet is all connected. We welcome audiences' questions and comments and encourage you to help us keep these shows available by contributing to the tip jar, the link posted in the chat. And please post your questions and comments also in the chat. We look forward to those. Tonight, we present special guest singer, songwriter, and storyteller Michaela Paige, whose good work has inspired so many people nationwide and in the world. A woman of action who uses her talents with the goal and intent to help and inspire others. And if she looks familiar to you, it's because her career really began at age 16 when she participated in NBC's Emmy award-winning hit reality TV show, The Voice, where she not only earned a spot in the top 12 with Team Blake, but graced the likes of USA Today, Rolling Stone, Access Hollywood, and the iTunes Top 100 chart, and much more. We'll talk about all that tonight. Welcome, Michaela. You have to unmute yourself.
There we go.
Yay. Hello, so wonderful to see you.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, our complete pleasure. So there's a lot to talk about, but let's start kind of where it all started. And you were on The Voice, which has been on NBC for what, 20 seasons now?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy to think back to the fact that I was on in 2012, and it seems almost like a lifetime ago, and that was season 3. That was when we were doing one season a year, and then the show really started to take off and they capitalized. So the year after me was actually when they started doing 2 seasons every year, which was amazing. I don't know how they put it all together, but it was such a whirlwind experience. And although I had been singing for a long time before that, that was really where I learned to embrace who I was as an artist and really flourished and found my footing.
Now, how did you get on The Voice? Your father was involved in that, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was really funny because I couldn't stand reality TV. And I actually did an interview right after I had gotten off the show where I was very honest. I'm a transparent, I'm a hot person. I'm a humble, open, and transparent kind of person. And I told them I couldn't stand reality TV. And my dad had called me and he said, hey, listen, how do you feel about possibly being on The Voice? And I was like, no, absolutely not. And he goes, well, I submitted a video to them and they want to see you in Atlanta for an audition. And I had looked at my best friend at the time because we were together, and she looked at me and she goes, I haven't been to Atlanta. And I went, I haven't been to Atlanta either. So we ended up going for a vacation, and the rest is history. But yeah, it came from him sending in a video, and then it ended up turning into, beyond my wildest expectations.
That's fantastic. Well, we have a clip here to show, and our producer, Brianna, will show that a clip, and then we can talk more.
I find out everybody talks, it started with a whisper.
I'm Michaela Paige. I always knew I wanted to be an entertainer. When I turned 16, I got the chance of a lifetime to be a contestant on The Voice. This experience gave me the confidence I needed to fulfill my dreams. My message to you is, don't dream it, be it.
That's fantastic. What a wonderful video. There we are. I love that video. And tell us about your hair. Wasn't that
Oh my
something you
God.
really decided to go all out on this, huh?
You know, it's no wonder that I'm an advocate for what I like to call unapologetic individuality, because at 16, I went on television with a giant mohawk, which was of my decision. And it was funny because they used to leave me in wardrobe, and they would take like their breaks whenever they would come, you know, they fit each contestant, and they would leave me by myself to put outfits together because I had a style of my own, and it worked in my favor because I ended up taking some things home. But yeah, the hair was my trademark, and for a long time I was known as the Mohawk girl on The Voice. And even now I let people know, oh well, I was on The Voice, and they'll be like, oh really? And I was like, yeah, I had a giant mohawk, and people are like, I remember you.
Well, the mohawk and a big personality. You really,
Absolutely.
wonderful out there. Yeah. So national TV at age 16, and you were in the top 12
Yes.
on Team Blake. Tell us about that and your relationship with Blake.
It was an amazing experience. I adore him as a person. He was just so sweet. And before I had gone on the show, my friends were like, "You've got to pick Blake. You've got to pick Blake." And I went, I'm not a country singer though." And they're like, "It doesn't matter. You're just gonna know when you meet him." And when I had met him, he was so just kind and down to earth, just attentive and sweet to all of us, that he was the clear choice. And I was so happy. I was just reminded over and over again throughout the process of why I chose him as a coach. And he really became a friend. He watched out for everybody, especially those of us who were younger. He really acted like a crazy uncle or like a big brother for all of us. And it went as far as to, after I had gotten off the show, I remember making a comment to him. I was like, "Oh, I think you're going to be down by us soon." And he goes, "Where?" And I was like, "Oh, and I went back to the hotel and I looked it up, and I came back, and it was one of our shooting days. And I was like, "You're going to be at the Strawberry Festival. That's only a couple hours away from me." And he's like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I said, I'll have to come over and see you." He goes, "You know, you could just open for me." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "All I have to do is make a phone call." And I looked at him, I said, "Make the phone call." And that New Year's, I received a call from him, and he had actually taken a chunk out of his set and he gave it to me and my band. And that's where we opened for him for 22,000 sold out at the Plant City Strawberry Festival. And it's those kind of things that Blake used to do all the time that really, it's why he's so successful as an artist and as a person.
That's wonderful. What a great story. And your band, how many in your band?
Oh my goodness. At the time, it was so funny because we had put together a band, and it was musicians that I'd played with for a long time, and just kind of scattered. And then I had called my guitar player at the time years ago, and I said, "Hey, listen, I need a band for Blake Shelton, 22,000, Plant City." And he goes, "Okay, I got you." I said, "Listen, it's January. We need it by March 10th. And he's like, "Okay, not a problem." And then I received a call. We actually opened for Smash Mouth. I got a call from my attorney, and he goes, "Hey, listen, AutoNation just called me. They want to have you open for Smash Mouth. It's February 1st. And I was like, "Okay, cool." So I called Jesse up and I said, "Hey, so remember when I told you March 10th? And he goes, "Yeah." I was like, "It's February 1st. We're doing another show for another big artist." And he's like, "Awesome." And then it was hard to top that after it. But I think it was like 5 or 6 of us. And we pulled it off with only a couple rehearsals. And I remember sitting backstage with the guys from Smash Mouth, and they go, "How long have you guys been together?" And we're like, "This is our first show."
Oh,
Like,
no.
really? But it's also the
Fantastic.
style of music that I do. A lot of that old blues and jazz. It's really about getting the right cats. And when you get guys that feel the music, I mean, you can play anything.
That's wonderful. So you're still in your teens at this point when you're doing all
Oh,
of this.
yes. Yeah, I turned 17 on the show. And so, I mean, it was hit the ground running. And a lot of people think that the success comes from the show. And it really, the work just begins as soon as you get off a show like that. I mean, you're working twice as hard as you would before. It's looking for opportunities, getting on stages, that kind of stuff. So it was a lot for a teenage girl with a giant mohawk.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, that certainly led to you to really what your passion has been, and the BU campaign. And there's a lot to talk about here because it's just so marvelous what you've done. And tell us how this came about. I know you've written a book, and I know there's a great story about when you were first on a Barbizon Carnival Cruise Line ship.
Yes. So it's kind of crazy how the BU campaign started, because I had been doing everything kind of independently, without management, without an agent, which is a lot, with the help of my parents, but really just kind of taking the ball and running. My parents always gave me the opportunity, even when I was 8 years old, when I started singing, they really gave me the freedom to do whatever it was that I wanted to do, more so than, you get stage parents a lot of the time, but my parents weren't like that. And so they really let me kind of drive the bus. And so I had gotten a call from a potential manager, and it was a mutual friend through some music contacts, and we had wanted to work together. He was working with somebody else. His name is Jeff, and he's hanging out. And give Jeff a shout out. He's the best. He's the most wonderful person. And so
Jeff is here tonight, and
Jeff is here tonight. Jeff is my right hand, and I couldn't do what I do without him. And it was really, the BU campaign was both of us kind of coming together, but we got invited to go on a Barbizon cruise, which is actors, models, singers, and dancers, all young kids aspiring to live out their dreams. And so both of us kind of talked on the phone a little bit, and then we were like, okay, well, we're going to be stuck on a cruise ship for 5 days together with thousands of kids and their parents, and this is either going to work or it's not. And it was the test for us to see if we worked well together. And while we were on the ship, something really magical happened. I enjoy getting to know people. I always want to be out communicating with fans. And so while we were on the ship, we couldn't really walk anywhere without, getting people coming up to us, approaching us, wanting to talk, wanting to take pictures. But I also saw, what I saw in all of that was a need for inspiration and direction. And so a lot of the young girls had looked to me as this statue of being yourself. And I remember this beautiful story of where we came together, and I was filming a music video, which I know we're going to play. We decided to do something different and film this music video for the song that we had put together right before the cruise. And we're filming the last day, and this mom comes up to me and she goes, I just need to ask you a question. And I was like, what? And she goes, when did you finally become comfortable with who you were? And I said, ma'am, that's something I'm still learning to do. I think that's a lifelong journey. And she looked at me and she kind of started crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, I just can't figure out what's going on with my daughter. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, my daughter is severely bullied. I was like, oh my goodness. She's like, she doesn't feel like she fits in. She doesn't feel like she can be herself. And I said, where's your daughter? Like, we got to talk. And so we met.
That's something that really hits home with you, because you were bullied as a girl.
I was severely bullied. It's funny, I was having this conversation today, and for me, throughout middle school and even the beginning of high school, even elementary school, I mean, I was different. I chose a different path, and other students and other kids didn't understand the life that I wanted to live and the dream that I had had. And even on The Voice, it was the same way. I mean, I got bullied from fellow kids and adults alike who just didn't understand why I had made the hair and outfit decisions I did, or the music. It was one of those things where I learned that I couldn't really please everybody. But I met this girl and I started talking to her and inspiring her, and her and I shared stories. And when we walked away from that, I looked at Jeff and I said, that is what I want to do. And he goes, let's do it. And we, at that moment, decided to put together the BU campaign. And now I'm able to travel to, I've done middle schools. We focus on mostly high schools and colleges, primarily colleges, but I've been to schools all across the country. I do a fusion of a lecture series and performance. So we make this topic fun, but it's all about inspiring us to be comfortable in our own skin and celebrate our differences instead of trying to fit into this mold that the world puts in front of us that it wants us to fit into. So it's been an amazing ride. That was 2016, and now it's 2022, and we're still doing it. And it's been the biggest blessing in my life, and I've been able to bless other people through that.
That's wonderful, amazing. I'm seeing somebody saying amazing. Who would say is your biggest inspiration, and what keeps you going, and why?
Oh my gosh. I would say my biggest inspiration, aside from being really strong in my faith walk, I would honestly say I pull a lot of inspiration from the girl that I used to be. I was young and bullied and didn't feel like I had anywhere to go, and I would cry in my bedroom. And I remember feeling hopeless and feeling like what I was trying to do was just never going to happen, and that I would never fit in. And I think about that girl every time I get on a stage, because I know that if I'm talking to an audience, that there's at least one or two or a dozen of those people in the audience. And most of the time I get to hear from them. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that this has been the calling on my life. This has been the work that I've been called to do.
Let's take a look. We do have a couple videos here, and there's one about how it all started. So you told some of that, but let's take a look at that. Brianna?
Approximately 1 year ago, right here on this ship, the BU School Tour was born. On board the ship are over 1,000 young actors, models, singers, and dancers, all with one common goal: to follow their dreams. I was incredibly humbled by the spirit of these kids. However, one thing occurred to me. Although they all had dreams they were chasing and goals they had set for themselves, many came to me and shared their insecurities. When a young boy or girl comes to me and says, "You give me confidence," it's a gift to me. I know what it's like to lack confidence. I've been there. I just want to be for these kids what I did not have growing up. These moments motivated me to spread my message to kids everywhere in hopes of inspiring them to stay positive, kind, and true to who they are. We at the BU campaign have a sign that symbolizes our strength and inspires us and others, and reminds us that it is okay to be you.
That's so beautiful. I love that. And the way that girl's looking at you, it's just really, really beautiful. And I wanted to say the ship, the Barbizon, the modeling and acting school, they do this annual trip where they put presenters together with the kids that are learning acting and modeling and their families. So it's a whole week of events. And you had been hired to be a singer from The Voice, right?
Yeah. I was the 2016 one of their special guest performers, and a lot of the performers spend most of their time just kind of in their cabins doing their own things. But Jeff and I were on the same page, and we just went out and we wanted to meet people and talk. And I'm always that way, though. Anywhere I go, especially when I'm performing, I want to be with the students. We do that with the schools as well, where I make sure that we make time to really mingle around. But it was a crazy week, and I was actually brought back on the next year as well. And I brought the campaign that was actually born on the ship. So it was
fantastic. Well, let's take a look at the video. We have your One Kiss Away video that you did that first year. So Brianna, let's take a look at that.
One kiss away. One kiss away. One kiss away. One kiss away. You started something. The fire is on, and I can see you burning till you're coming on so strong. I wanna tell you now that we're face to face. Oh, I've been thinking about your lips and wondering how they taste. Ooh, what did you do to me? I used to be so carefree. Now all I'm thinking about is you and me. Don't you know that we're just one kiss away from everything we're dreaming of every night and day? Oh hey, one kiss away. I see that look in your eye. Come on and meet me halfway. And if you want my love and you want me to stay, oh hey, 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 it's just one kiss away. It's just one kiss away. It's like a slingshot. This feeling between my heart is bouncing in my chest. It's on a trampoline. I pull you closer. The tension is high, and at the point of no return, I lean and close my eyes. Ooh, baby, can you read my signs? You're giving me one drive mind. Yeah, I'm thinking about it all the time. Don't you know that we're just one kiss away from everything we're dreaming of every night and day? Oh hey, one kiss away. I see that look in your eyes. Come on and meet me halfway. And if you want my love and you want me to stay, oh hey, 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 it's just one kiss away. It's just one kiss away. One kiss away. One kiss away. It's just 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 one kiss away.
Sorry. That is so great. I love that. And, you know, it must have given so much confidence for all those kids to be performing with you and to work alongside you. What a wonderful experience for everyone.
One of my favorite things about that was that it really bore this student participation thing that we still do in the schools when I tour in college, on college campuses, where if you saw the dancers dancing behind me, they had actually come up with the choreography. We just said, hey, listen, I'm performing tomorrow night or 2 nights from now. We did kind of like auditions, and then we had the dancers come together and put together a routine, and they got up and they danced behind me, and it was really, it was so awesome. And it was just, yeah.
I realized, I think we also have students participation, something to show. Did you want to show that as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a little preface for this. One of my favorite things about going to schools is that we get the schools involved, and that's something really unique that we do with the campaign, because I really don't want this to be so much about me as it is about the students and the students' experience. And I work really hands-on with the schools that I go to visit to find out what the needs are of the campuses. But this really fun activity that we do is we actually get the campuses involved, where we'll contact the music departments. We'll get performers up on stage with me, whether it's performing with the military band at Fleet Week, or at West Point Military Academy, or jumping on stage with a violinist or a cellist from a local school, or even bringing up students. I had students at Calabasas High who shared inspiring stories about their journey that fit in with our campaign. So it's really great to be able to share that spotlight, to show students that it's not just about me doing this, but they're doing it in their everyday lives.
And you have a book or materials that goes along with this.
Yeah, so I ended up starting this book, which I have a music video called Fly, which is a song that I wrote about I wrote the song to my younger self. It was the song that I had kind of dedicated to the girl that I used to be, and the girl that I kept seeing, or the student that I kept seeing when I went to campuses. And at the end of the book, or in the book, which the music video was shot by a school in California. And Jeff, I'm blanking, so you're gonna have to write it in the chat for me. It was a school in California that had put this music video together and filmed it. And they ended up including this journal that I started. And it's this BU journal, and it's traveled across the country to a lot of the schools that I've been to. And they have filled it with their own stories. Columbia College, thank you. Columbia College Hollywood, they've shot this music video. And I started this journal. I started it with my own story, and I started it with the things that I wanted students to know, not only about, my past, but the things that I learned and the things going forward. And then I left it blank for other students who felt that they wanted to fill it with their own stories. So the journal, I don't know where it is now, but I know it's at a college campus, or it might be back at Jeff's house. But it has been traveling for quite some time.
Wonderful.
It's been traveling for quite some time. And that is something that I love too. And it goes along with the fact that we have been including the students in everything that we do.
Let's take a look at this clip.
It's sound check at APCA.
That's so beautiful. That's just great. Lovely to see all that. And you have been giving back since then, and that it's grown to quite a bit. I know you are the ambassador for goodwill ambassador for quite a number of charities. And you've worked with the military and Children's Hospital and the Alzheimer's and American Cancer Society, and
Oh my goodness.
so many wonderful groups. Tell us about this work.
It's been amazing to be able to have the platform that I have, but one of the big things, aside from the student participation, has been being able to give that platform to different organizations. I started when I was very young. One of the first stages I ever went on was the American Cancer Society, the the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walks, the JDRF walks, and every opportunity that I had to volunteer my time, which I still do. I still work really closely with the American Cancer Society and work on and get on stage at local walks and stuff, because I still feel like they gave me a platform when I was young that I was able to really grow as an artist. And so I've just been able to be part of Alzheimer's community care. I've been able to go visit some of the Alzheimer's daycare centers and sing and perform. And I was able to visit the Children's Hospital, and we actually went and we visited patients.
Here's a picture. We see you at the Children's Hospital.
And then we bought pizza for the staff. We served coffee and tea to the parents that were there with their children. And at the end of it, we threw a pizza party as a thank you to the staff that work so diligently each and every day in really rough circumstances.
And I understand they put a portion of the proceeds went back to the hospital, was it?
Yes. And it was a beautiful thing. I work very closely with a charity called Cody's Angels. I've been doing their golf tournament, performing at their golf tournament every single year. Just as much as possible that I can get on a stage and help somebody. You know, we weren't given gifts to keep to ourselves. We were given them to share with the world and make a difference. And so not only with organizations, but with the military, I've had the honor of performing at Camp Pendleton many times. I was at Fleet Week, like we had mentioned earlier, and I visited West Point Military Academy, and being able to be a part of giving back to the people who make sacrifices for us each and every day, not only on the battlefield, but when they come home. That is the most special thing to me out of everything that I do. You know, as far as giving back has been being able to work closely with the military, and my dreams moving forward is to do more and more with them as the world opens back up.
That's terrific. I'm so glad to hear it. That's such important work.
Absolutely.
And you also are a very big supporter of the LGBTQ community. And I know that you appeared on the TLC's series, I Am Jazz.
Yes, I did.
I think we have a picture of you with Jazz Jennings.
Yeah, there we are.
That's terrific.
Yeah, we actually, this is a picture from a rehearsal that we did before we brought the BU campaign to a local art school. It was a local dance school, which was wonderful. But I appeared on a few seasons of I Am Jazz. And again, you know, you can't believe in diversity, and you can't talk about being authentic and being yourself without including the LGBT community. I've performed at Pride many years now. And I'm an advocate for anything that stands for being yourself, celebrating who you are, and really being able to all stand together on the same plane with the same rights and the same equality and the same respect for each and every person. Despite our differences, you know, we don't have to agree with each other, but I really believe that we still need to love and respect each other.
Absolutely. This is a wonderful time for that too. We're seeing so much outreach to, you know, many communities, especially as we all, you know, work together to bring together, you know, trans and Asian and Native American and Black, and, you know, we're all the human community.
Exactly. And I love how, you know, at the beginning you talk about taking care of Mother Earth too, you know, that it all works in harmony. And when we start to spread hate, when we start to be judgmental, when we start to push our boxes on other people, or what we believe needs to be the norm, is when we start to break away from being ourselves, or we tell other people to not be who they are.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And especially hard. I think it's so meaningful, you know, going back to your whole BU campaign and working with kids, because kids are bullied, and it's a whole different level of bullying than certainly when I was a kid, because you can completely destroy someone with the click of your iPhone. And
Absolutely. Well, one of the biggest issues I think right now is we are constantly inundated with information. We are constantly we're seeing other people's best moments, and we're comparing them to our very real lives, and we're comparing our behind the scenes to somebody else's highlight reel, and we're saying, why is, this person has this and that, and we forget that a lot of people put up this persona on social media to make themselves bigger than they are. And we forget that other people have the same, not the same struggle, but they struggle, alongside us. And so it's a world where we're in constant comparison. And because we're not putting the phones down, and we're not really taking the time to be present, we're cutting ourselves down. We're comparing ourselves, and in comparison is really a hindrance to growth. And we should just constantly be comparing ourselves to ourselves instead of comparing ourselves to the rest of the world, because nobody exists that's like us.
That's right. We each have a unique personality, and it's so important to be able to reach, kids when they're in school, and be able to remind them of that or teach them that. Sometimes they don't get it at home, but sometimes, I know at school, my own son was bullied, especially middle school ages. That's a big time. People, kids get bullied. So I'm so glad that you're out there helping these kids and to be themselves and to feel confident and be able to walk their own walk. It's wonderful. Now you're a jazz singer, I know, as well. And you were on that I Am Jazz series. And you also have roots in jazz. I guess we have a clip here when you performed with Postmodern Jukebox, is it?
Yes.
Hey baby, won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction. Hey baby, what you gotta say? All you're giving me is fiction. I'm a sorry sucker, and it happens all the time. Should I find out that everybody talks? It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her, and then she made my lips hurt. Said I can hear the chit-chat. Take me to your love shack. Mama's always gotta backtrack when everybody talks. Everybody talks. Hey honey, you can be my drug, you could be my new prescription. Too much could be an overdose of this trash talk, make me itchy. Sit on my mind, said everybody talks. It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her, and then she made my lips hurt. Said I can hear the chit-chat. Take me to your love shack. Mama's always gotta backtrack when everybody talks. Everybody talks. Oh, I never thought I'd live to see the day show me all your love, all you're giving me is fiction. Hey, sugar, what you gotta say? It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her. And then she made my lips hurt. Oh, said, oh, give me the chit-chat. Said, take me to your love shack. Mama's always gotta backtrack. Oh, when everybody, I said everybody, not just anybody. He, she, everybody. Oh, everybody talks. Everybody talks.
Woo! That was great.
That has to be one of my favorite performances of all time. And that actually is the most popular song. If you saw from the first voice video, that is one of the songs that I did on the show. And I obviously traded the Mohawk for a little bit more of a pinup vibe. I love the Rosie the Riveter 1950s style. And that really also comes from my love of music and starting in blues and jazz, and then kind of taking this throwback approach as an artist and trying to bring that sound back. The time when we really felt music. I believe that music is supposed to be felt first and heard second is kind of what I always say. And I believe in kind of bringing that feeling and that energy back that music used to have.
Well, that's beautiful. You do a good job of it.
Thank
And
you.
Postmodern Jukebox, they asked you to go on tour with them after that.
They did. Unfortunately, we had some scheduling conflicts where we were doing a bunch of the BU campaign stuff, and so we actually couldn't do a tour. But that was super exciting, and I'm really stoked to get back to film another video with them, hopefully soon.
I understand that you did this video in one take, and they were really overwhelmed and amazed by that.
We did. It was just, man, it was right in my wheelhouse. And so we took one take, and Scott went, I guess we'll take another one just in case, but I think we got it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, your manager, Jeff Everly, who's just wonderful, has reminded me of that in the chat. And he's been so great helping put all this together tonight. So let's move on, because the time does fly by, to current projects, because I understand you're now working with producer Lawrence Boo Mitchell at Royal Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, isn't he the one that he did all Al Green records, and he did didn't Bruno Mars also?
Yeah, so he helped produce Uptown Funk, which is amazing. And his dad, well, his grandfather, he calls him his father, actually recorded all of Al Green's songs. And the cool part about Royal Studios is that it has not changed since back in the day when it was first opened. Boo has been very adamant about keeping that studio the way that it always has been. So you walk into basically a time capsule when you go in there, and it really just embodies everything that is Memphis. And our big thing now is bringing back Memphis soul. So my style is very much soul music. It's Aretha Franklin meets Bruno Mars, and we are working on some brand new music as we've taken, artists evolve over time, and I've evolved into this place that I really feel like I've been able to embody every part of me. And so we've been working on some tracks, and I'm super excited to get back to Memphis and finish up a record. But Boo has been Boo and Memphis have been everything I've ever wanted from music, from original music.
Well, it looks like we have a female version of Bruno Mars now. So we have a couple clips to show. Let's take a look at Shockwave, I think is the first.
Mm-hmm.
Brianna, thank you.
Don't you know that's how it's gotta be? You may hold the cards, oh, but I still hold the key. Oh boy, don't you know just what you're doing to me? Oh, you hit me like a shockwave, feel it buzzing all in my brain. Boy, you hit me like a shockwave, and I know I'm addicted to your flame. Ooh.
So it's so fun seeing you had just recorded it, and then to watch you two listening to it and to see the interaction there. I love that.
You know it's crazy. I've never seen that, which is so exciting, and it brings me so much joy to think about the process of recording that song. It's amazing the way that music works, and like a little bit of a behind the scenes story. So that song is in the process of being produced, and I got to Memphis and I felt inspiration like no other. So what ended up happening was we were recording a completely different song that we had written. We had taken some songs to Memphis, and when we were recording with the band, which all records together in one room, which I love, and that's something that I've always wanted from the records that I've put out, is I want musicians all together, playing together, keeping the same vibe, keeping the same energy, where you're getting that feeling that we talked about. So we're recording the musicians, and I'm realizing that I can't sing with the tempo that Boo wanted. I couldn't sing the song that we had written. So I told him, I was like, this doesn't, it's too fast. It has to be slowed down. And he goes, absolutely not. And I was like, listen, with the records that you have recorded, I'm not going to argue with you, but I can't sing this song. And he goes, I guess you're writing another song. I was like, okay. So I went back to the hotel and I listened to the track and immediately just wrote this completely different song. And we went in, and the first take, I'll never forget Jeff telling me the face that Boo made, because they hadn't heard my range. And I got this compliment from Michael Bublé, who is our assistant coach on The Voice, who said, I have a 60-year-old Black woman trapped inside me. And I love those big powerhouse, like Emotions, those Aretha Franklin songs that have these big belty moments. And so I had incorporated those into the song, and Boo had never really heard me do that. And so it was at that moment, I think, that we just let loose, and the song is probably one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. And I'm excited to see it come to life with you could hear the horn parts that we were throwing in there and the backgrounds that we're throwing in there. And it's really exciting to kind of see the process, and then when it's done. But that's an exclusive that has not been heard by anybody before. So it is
fantastic. What a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Well, we have I'm Climbing. So let's take a look at that.
Here in the shadows, out on the alone in this darkness, it's where I am from. But I'm more than this story, so much more than this. rising up now. Take a look at my face. Yeah, I'm climbing up from these ashes. Yeah, I'm climbing my shattered heart. I'm climbing, get back to somehow. Yeah, I'm climbing, have a new start. Now I'm rising, I'm standing, I'm reaching, I'm flying, you'll see. Gonna get back to me.
Beautiful, so beautiful. Love seeing the interaction of you two. You just had, a complete connection there as you were both looking forward. It's beautiful.
I mean, I was able to share that connection with the other musicians too, and one of which was the organ player, who was a reverend, and him and I had the most wonderful conversations. But he actually played on all of Al Green's records. He's played on, I mean, most of the records that have been recorded at that studio, and so to have him on these songs was just an honor. But we really,
Who is that?
The organist.
Mhm.
The organ player, he actually played on all of Al Green's records. So all of these classic hit songs, and I'm a sucker for a good organ. So I was super happy to have him, and it was an honor to be able to have him on these songs.
That is so great. I don't know his name offhand, but we'll try to look that up. We'll ask Jeff. And I'm just amazed. You have a wonderful career. You're such a beautiful spirit. It's good to know that you're out there working with all these organizations, and especially the BU campaign. And that is what you're really focused on above all, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think more than anything else, music is the way that I am able to be myself. And the campaign is really how I'm able to inspire others to be themselves. So the reason that I'm able to incorporate my music is because how could I tell anybody else to really embrace who they are without doing exactly that myself?
Jeff just responded, Charles Hodges.
Yes.
Is the organ player. So we wanted to give a shout out to Charles Hodges. Thank you, Jeff.
Reverend Hodges. And so this campaign is really what we've been able to run with, and it's been one of my favorite aspects of my career and our journey together. And I'm excited to see it grow, not only with the release of new music, but with the 2022 season as the world kind of begins to open up again. I think that there's a necessity for something like this because we have been trapped in our homes. We have seen the world change completely as we know it, and we're learning to find ourselves again in a brand new world. And so I think that being able to bring the BU campaign to schools and to just be able to use my platform to bring the campaign to anybody through my social media, for me, I think that that's more of what the world needs than anything else, because we really are learning how to be all over again.
It's true. It's true. It's a different world, and we've all been affected by it. And the work you're doing is so beautiful. You're a beautiful soul. So I'm glad you're out there doing it. And if anyone knows of any schools that, might enjoy having this, and who wouldn't, but if you do know of any schools, do let us know. Write it in the chat or get in touch with us through the marsh, or you certainly can get in touch with we have the website right up here, michaelapage.com. So be sure to go to her website and take a look, because you'll be really pleased by what you see, and you'll be able to see some of the very videos that we showed tonight and more. So I just thank you so much for being here. Both Jeff Eberly, we didn't get to really talk with, but he is here and been backing you. But I'm very thankful to you, Michaela Paige. And I appreciate your sharing your beautiful work with us.
Thank you so much for allowing me to. And I look forward to connecting with those of you who are here. Hopefully you can find me, of course, at my website, michaelapage.com, or you can follow me everywhere on social media at Miss Michaela Page, MS Michaela Page.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thanks so much. Art truly does heal. So look for more at her website, posted in our chat, and on the Marsh Stream YouTube platform at themarsh.org. And next week, Solar Arts Heal presents Can founder Rick Davis, featuring award-winning folk pop artist Lisa Snyderman, aka Aidi, the muse of song, who creates music and more to express, heal, and empower others to grieve and to thrive. This award-winning artist and playwright is going to share stories, music, and films illustrating how creating music and art has been her lifeline during her 14-year journey battling a rare chronic illness. So look for our shows Wednesday nights, Solo Arts Heal on the Marsh Stream, and also cached on the YouTube channel. Our gift to the communities we share. And remember the tip jar. Please give us, we need your tips and your support at this time, especially when during the theater closures. It's been quite an amazing couple of years for us all. With thanks again to our guests, to Marsh Stream producer Brianna Caver, artistic director Stephanie Wiseman, and always to our Zoom and YouTube audiences. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
How do I describe my journey with
your mother, who takes care of you, who takes you to the doctor when you're sick? Your mother.
Good morning, New York. Buenos dias. It's me. What's up?
We went out for lunch at a sushi place where she tried sushi for the first time and she liked it.
I see that change can happen. I know things can shift and change for good.
I am dizzily dazzled with stars in my eyes.
Same level as I broke my neck. But he's not getting the same return of function I am.
And I don't want any of your smart aleck sex talk that I usually get when I get home.
This is beyond the marsh because what you're doing is planting beautiful seeds for artists to grow.